Hello, loved ones. I'm so excited to talk to y'all today. Okay, I just got in from seeing One of Them Days, and that movie was so good. But what was even better was having an opportunity to spend time with my homegirls. Questions that need answered. Why aren't there more companies that have mismatched bras and shoes? There are people out here in the world who actually have different size boobs and different size feet. So if they go to the store and they're looking for shoes, they got to get a size 8 and then they need a size 9. Or else what do? Just have one shoe that's smaller or one shoe that's bigger? I don't know. I don't have this problem. If you do, let me know how you handle this. And if you have one boob that's bigger than the other, like, how do you make that work? I feel like companies could really make some money. I feel like I found a gap in the market. So if anybody has an answer to this question, please let me know, because it definitely needs answered. Hello, loved ones. I am your host, Sonia Star J. This is Fully Loving Yourself. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. So today I want to talk about my girlfriends. I want to talk about friends today, okay? This is our podcast for the girls, okay? And we talk about all girly things. Now today, I actually just got back from seeing One of Them Days with my homegirls, and it was so cute. It was such a key. And I'm just so grateful that I'm in a brand new city and state. I've been here for 8 years, and I have a consistent group of girlfriends that, like, I spend time with, I love on, they love on me, and it's just always a good time. And I can bring them all together and they all enjoy each other, and we just all have a really good time together. I think it's so important as women, you know, getting older in adulthood, to have community. And I know that people who are like in their 30s and above say that it's hard to make friends when you get older, and I don't know if that resonates with me, because I moved here when I was 29 and I started making friends like almost instantly. I got here in 2017, and my friend from college ended up moving here with me. And then in 2018, I met a whole host, a heck of my friends, because I went back to school. So I met a lot of friends in school. And then my former supervisor introduced me to one of my best friends here. And then I just started going to like different events and stuff, but then also connecting with people on social media and like being open to making friends. It's just so important to have your heart open to receiving love, you know, in friendships, romantic relationships, because 3 of my close friends now I met on Facebook. Like, I don't know if they messaged me or if I messaged them, but we just linked up just to see like if this will work, if it'll click, and it just clicked. And that's not with everybody. There are some people that I've met and it just didn't, we just didn't gel, we just didn't mesh, and there was no hard feelings. We just didn't click. But I found the ones who did, and we be clicking and it be good. And so I think that if you are struggling to make genuine friendships, you need to put yourself out there more, you know, put yourself out there more and be open to new connections with new people. We are going to talk about, I don't know if I want to talk about it today, but talk about grieving friendships. Do I want to talk about that today? I don't know, because there was a statistic that I came across online that said that when women get into a relationship or they get married, they lose 2 to 3 friends. And I was like, isn't that interesting? Because that's exactly what happened to me. And so I'm trying to determine if I want to split this up into 2 episodes. Maybe we'll talk about the importance of building relationships and having relationships today. And we're just going to talk about like one of them days, the things that I noticed and the biggest impact that the movie had on me and my girls. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. So let's hop right on into it. Again, this is Fully Loving Yourself, your favorite Friday night hotspot for winding down after a long week with your homegirls. Go in the bathroom, lock the door, get in the bathtub, and turn the vibes up because we are about to get into some things. If you got free hands, I want to know, how was your week? How you feeling? Okay, it's Friday night. It's 5 o'clock. That's when I'm launching this, when I'm airing this. It's Friday night at 5 o'clock. But whenever you're listening to it, check in. Let me know how you feeling. How was your week? What did you learn this week? What's been on your mind? What is something that you want to let go of? That's something that I think we'll start doing during these Friday night podcasts, is just really reflecting on what are we letting go this week? Like, what are we letting go of and releasing moving into the weekend so that we can have a really good self-care weekend, release all that mental and emotional baggage so that we can start our next week fresh, right? So the lesson from this week for me was to show up for people who show up for you. I went out to eat with my homegirl before we went to the movies, and we were just talking about like how we learned how to show love and how to show up for people. And I learned, or I guess realized, that the way that I kind of was raised was to do things for people with the expectation of having something done for you in return. Like, you give me this and I'll give you this back type energy. And I didn't realize that not everybody was raised that way. Like, not everybody was taught that. And I was just like, oh, well, that's interesting. And so now I'm in a space where I don't like have to operate like that, and I'm learning how to allow myself to be loved and not make it uncomfortable. We'll unpack this in a different conversation, but that is something that I learned this week, was that I struggle with receiving love. Like, not all the time. Like, I'm good at receiving compliments and, you know, things like that. But when people do stuff for me, something in my mind triggers like, oh, well, I need to do something nice for them too. I don't necessarily really know what that is, but we are working to unpack it so that we are feeling more worthy and deserving of love and the abundance of community and friendship and romantic love, all of those things, right? So that's the lesson for this week for me. Let me know what you learned this week, what you are taking away from this week. Something that I want to start doing too here on the pod is I want to start sending love to a specific person or a specific group of people, or just, I want to send loving energy to someone. So if you have somebody that needs love and recognition or deserves love and recognition, feel free to DM me on Instagram or shoot me over an email so I can shout somebody out, hype somebody up, and show them love. That is one thing that I love to do, is to show love to people. And so to this week, I want to shout out and show love to Janae Aiko. Why? Okay, she probably won't ever see this, but the reason why is because I am a licensed massage therapist, okay? And I seen on Instagram that during the LA fires, during a point in time during the LA fires, she hired massage therapists to come out and work on the firefighters. I was like, yo, that's so dope. Apparently, she owns a company called Genetics that has like CBD ointments and things like that. I'm not sure if the massage therapy is a part of her like business model or whatever, but I was like, that is so dope. So shout out to her for realizing that massage therapy is a benefit, because oftentimes people don't realize the benefit of massage therapy and how healing it can really be, and how helpful it can be when you are dealing with high amounts of stress or your body is like tight and tense. So I felt like that was really dope of an experience to give to the people who were fighting the fires, to give them that moment of de-stress and relaxation. So shout out to her. Who else do I want to send love to? You know who I'm sending love to as well? All the babies and the mothers of the babies in my life that gave birth last month and this month. There was a lot of them. Like, I know 12 women who gave birth last year around this time, and more power to y'all, because y'all opened my eyes to a lot of aspects of motherhood, and I'm grateful for it. I know that I'm a great auntie, okay? So sending love to the moms and the babies, the moms of the babies who have birthdays in January, February, all the way through March. Sending love to y'all. Okay, so the topic of discussion today is friendship and our homegirls, and how important it is to have community, right? So, like I said, I wanted to just go see One of Them Days, and I will say that SZA did her thing. Okay, I love Keke Palmer. She's so freaking funny. We spent so much time laughing during that movie, and there were just so many like twists and turns. Like, it was a good, like, feel good, chill movie with my homegirls. Even my one friend, she said she don't really do movies like that, but she really enjoyed that movie, and it was just a good time with my friends. And I feel like we haven't had like a real good feel good homegirls type movie in a long time, so it was good to be able to experience that with a bunch of my friends. SZA is funny as hell. Okay, like, I was watching the interviews of how Issa said SZA came to be in the movie. She was a good addition. She was cracking us up. Now, it was funny because of the different dynamic that they had. The whole entire time I was watching the movie, I was thinking like, yo, all of this stuff is happening because of SZA. Like, it was SZA's boyfriend, and then SZA in these damn shoes, and then SZA, like, it was just like so much happening. And I was like, yo, Kiki, this girl is low-key ruining your life. And when SZA was like, I can't wait to be a Cap woman, like, girl, what? Like, what type of dynamic is this? But it showed me, like, having a friend or a homegirl who's really down to like ride through it all with you, like to really be by your side through all of the bullshit, you know? And it's not all the time that women have friends like that, you know, friends that you can be honest with and you could fall out with, but at the end of the day still come back and make some shit happen together. And I think that's so important, even though you're two different people on two different paths, right? Like, SZA was the, you know, airily, you know, spiritual girly, and then Kiki was more of the, I'm on a path, corporate. Two different people coming together and working together to make something beautiful. And the backstory, I guess, they had grew up together, and so there was a lot in that. But I just thought that it was really dope to see the progression of the characters. Like, they became more confident, and that was another good point too, was how they poured into each other and hyped each other up. Like, when Kiki wasn't feeling comfortable or confident in herself about this new job that she was trying to get, SZA was there hyping her up like, you got this, girl, you about to kill this shit, you know? Even though they were in the midst of going through all of the stuff that they was going through, she was still there by her side, pushing her and hyping her up. And then the way that Kiki poured into SZA, telling her like, girl, you deserve so much better than this bum ass dude, you know? And I text my friends after the movie, and I told them that it's actually really funny because when I first moved here, I was like homeless for like 3 months before moving here. And when I finally like got my stuff together, my homegirl from college, she hit me up. She's like, hey, I just graduated from college. I know you're in Raleigh. Are you looking for a roommate? I was like, well, no, I'm not looking for a roommate, but it couldn't hurt. I'm up here by myself. So she ended up moving up here with me. And that was in 2017. And then the following year, I met this guy. Y'all, I met this dude, and I didn't realize at the time that he was a homosexual. And I just thought we got this really good connection, and listen, my self-worth was not, it won't too high at that point in time, but he was just like, yeah, we're getting along well, and I would love, if I could move in. And I really had the audacity to ask my friend if this boy could move in with us, and she was like, girl, no, what are you talking about? Thank the Lord for her, because she really, really saved me. I mean, that man was willing to risk it all in order to have some place to stay. And I didn't realize what a homosexual was at that point in time in my life. That term and that awareness for me didn't come until years later, and she brought it to my awareness, and I'm just like, oh, there are really people out here who will literally do whatever they need to do in order to keep a roof over their head. And that's actually kind of sad, but I'm glad that I didn't fall victim to that. So shout out to my homegirl. She was at the movies today too. But yeah, y'all, protect yourself from them homosexuals, because that's exactly what SZA's boyfriend was. Do not succumb to that. And also, be a good friend. Be the friend who tells your friend the truth. It's important for us to, one, be able to tell our friends the truth, but also allow our friends to be honest with us too. I will say that in the past, it was hard for me to accept criticism, from anybody, really. And because I've had to kind of cultivate my feminine friendships, it was a challenge for me, because I didn't grow up close to my sister. I don't know if I talked about this in a podcast before, but I didn't grow up close to my sister. I didn't have any female cousins until I was 7 maybe. So there's not really a lot of girls in my family. And so even when I was younger, I only had 2 friends at a time. Is it just me? I've always ran in threes. I've always had me and 2 other people as a group. I don't know what that's about, but I remember in elementary school, I had 2 friends. And then when I was in college, I had 2 friends. In high school, I had 2 friends. If you look at the pictures of me and girlfriends from way back in the day, it's always me and 2 other girls. That's crazy. But now I got a whole gang of them folks. I got a whole gang of girls, and I love that for me. Because it's important for us to have girlfriends to do stuff with outside of our relationships, and just to have other people to lean on, because yeah. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I personally feel like I thrive better when I'm in community with other women. I love my man. I always say this when I talk about friendships, but it's just something about our girlfriends that just do something different for us because of the nurturing that the feminine energy has. You know, like my friends love on me in a different way, and I just love spending time with my girls. And if we think about it, like going back to like back in the day, women have historically built things in community and have grown and done things in community. I think about how, like, my husband's family, they have a lot of women in their family and they travel in packs. Like, they are super close, and I always wished that I had that. They have like a lot of sisters and cousins and aunties and stuff, and I'm just like, man, it's so dope that they are so loving towards each other and they're so close in community. Like, they show up for each other and family, and that's what I feel like I'm building here, and it's so important to have. It's such a different dynamic when you're surrounded by men as opposed to being surrounded by women. And I feel like over time we've lost that concept of community and how to really build those friendships because we are so isolated now as a society. You know, like, we don't take the time that's necessary to nurture relationships. I feel like we are very self-centered too, like, and we mostly just think about the relationship with ourselves and then the relationships with our romantic partners, not realizing that there is an important other piece of that. Like, in order for us to feel, you know, fulfilled and to feel joy, I would think that we need that other piece, that friendship, that connection, to help reduce stress, to help when you're going through life transitions, like when you are going through something like, say, you know, you're having a child. It's better, I would think, to have community with other women who have had children. I know that for me, when I was going through, you know, my engagement process, it was very helpful for me to have other married women to pour into me and to give me like advice on like things to do, what to expect, how to think, how to feel, like all of those things based off of like life experiences. And it's just really important to have that. Like, I have a bunch of brothers, okay, and the love and support and nurturing and the advice that I get is so much different than that from women than what I get from men. Like, they just don't get it, you know. It's completely different. They're very just like direct and straightforward, and they don't really oftentimes take like your emotions into consideration when you're getting advice from like brothers, or, you know. And I'm just like, oh man, I really wish I had some sisters. And man, I'm so grateful that I now have them. Feminine women, or women in general, need safe spaces to just to exist and to be without judgment. Like, the way that my brothers talk around me, it's just like, sometimes I'll be like, am I a girl? Like, am I the girl in the room? Like, do y'all realize that I'm a woman? Like, it just be so, you know, if you have brothers or cousins, then you might know what I mean. Just the things that we hear them talk about, it's just like, how did I end up here? How did we get here? You know? And so I think that it's important for us to discuss how to really cultivate, you know, healthy community and healthy friendships. And that's one, like I said, being very intentional about it. Like, I'm grateful for my friends because they've helped me to become a better person in so many different ways. They've helped me to be more intentional. I have a couple of friends, two of my friends, I noticed that whenever I would see them, they would bring me gifts, and I couldn't understand it. I was like, "Whoa, why are you bringing me gifts? Like, what did I do? Like, what did I do to deserve this?" And she was like, "No reason, like nothing. Like, I just wanted to give you something." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I'm like, "Well, do I need to start bringing you gifts? Like, is that something that you want?" She's like, "If you want to, you can start bringing me gifts, but it's not required." And so I had to start learning how to like operate in friendships at that point in time, because it wasn't like I wasn't used to being loved on in that way at first. And so now I feel more comfortable showing up for people how it feels natural for me, but also how they need to. I always talk about, you know, my best friend telling me what her love language was, and I was like completely oblivious to my friend who's been my best friend for like 15 years. And you know, I have used that in my process of being a friend. Like, I am very intentional. Like, my friends will tell you, I'm very intentional about being a better friend, about being a good friend. And I'll talk about this in the other episode where we'll talk about like falling out with friends and grieving friends, and how I got to this space of now being able to cultivate healthy friendships, because there were things that were said to me that made me really question who I was as a friend. And now I have friends who like pour into me and are like, oh no, you're a good friend, girl. And I'm like, period, you know. So I love where I'm at right now in my friendships, and having just good women around me, good people around me who don't judge me and just like allow me to be exactly who I am in all my fullness, and I don't have to shrink myself around them. It is such a good feeling. Oh man, it just feels so good to be able to have community of people who just let you be yourself. You don't gotta pretend to be nobody else but yourself. That feels so good when you are a person who's had to shrink yourself for so long of your life and had to be a certain type of person to not be criticized or judged. It feels good to be in this space. So this week, I want you all to take some time to nurture your friendships. If you have a friend or somebody that you miss, that you haven't talked to in a while, reach out to them and say, hey girl, you know, I was thinking about you. Maybe we could get lunch sometime, or even just a FaceTime day. I have friends and family who live in other states, and I'll just FaceTime them, and we'll just sit and we'll just talk. We'll eat on FaceTime together, and we'll be on FaceTime for hours just catching up. Sometimes that's just good enough. Just checking in, just letting someone know like, hey, I was thinking about you. You was on my mind. How you doing? You know? And so I want to also start with the affirmations that we have at the end of each episode. I want to start doing a journal prompt as well. So because we are releasing the podcast Friday nights at 5, this is something that you could reflect on Sundays while you're doing your self-care. So just something to think about as you go on into the next week. So we'll have like, you know, the topic of discussion for the pod, and then something to reflect on and journal for self-care Sundays or Saturday or whenever you do it. So this week, the journal prompt that I think would be wonderful for you all to do as we are learning to lean into our friendships is, what kind of friendships do I desire, and how can I show up for my current and future friends? Because that's really important for us to be able to reflect on who we are and how we show up in our relationships. And I would love to hear from y'all to really see like how you pour into your relationships and how you want friends to pour into you. I know I had somebody reach out to me on Instagram when I was talking about planning my Valentine's Day, and she was telling me like, I really wish that, you know, I had people to invite me to stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I used to feel like that. And what I did was I just start planning on myself. Like, I just start being intentional about the energy that I wanted around me. I'm like, you know something? This is something that I'm missing. It's something that I want. So I'm going to create it. I'm going to create the thing that I need. And now I'm just so fulfilled and filled with joy. So, and I love it, you know? And as y'all know, we end each episode off with a quote and an affirmation. So our quotes for today is, a true friend is not just someone who stands by you in the light, but someone who walks with you through the dark and reminds you of your own glow. Okay? Get you some friends to hype you up, like Kiki and SZA did. All right. And our affirmation for this week is, I am worthy of deep, nourishing, and soul enriching friendships. I attract and cultivate connections that uplift, support, and inspire me. So that's all for this episode today, loved ones. I hope that if you are celebrating Valentine's Day this month, that it is wonderful, that is lit, and that you are surrounded by love, and that you are surrounded by people who pour into you and love you deeply. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Substack or Apple, be sure to check it out on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast channel. We are going to be talking about all things love this month of February. There are some episodes that I already filmed for this month, but we are going to be talking about like relationships and self-love and all those things, and I'm excited to see where things go from here. All right, so that is all for today. I will catch you all in the next episode. As always, be bold, be joyful, and always be fully loving yourself, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.